How humanity claimed leadership over the galaxy's most dangerous species. Part 1, First Contact, the Diplomatic Misunderstanding. The first rays of artificial starlight crept across the observation deck of the human diplomatic vessel Odyssey Prime. Ambassador Elena Chen adjusted her uniform, a crisp navy blue that contrasted sharply with the sleek, minimalist interior of the ship. Outside the viewport, the massive Draconid flagship Terror of the Void loomed like a metallic predator, its scales of titanium alloy gleaming with menacing precision. Final system checks, Elena murmured to her AI assistant, Aria, Advanced Relational Interaction Algorithm. The holographic interface flickered to life, its soft blue projection displaying a complex web of diplomatic protocols, linguistic algorithms, and cultural analysis. All systems optimal, Aria responded. Universal translators calibrated. Quantum encryption protocols active. Meme database loaded and ready for cross-cultural communication. Elena chuckled. Most diplomatic teams would consider a meme database an inappropriate addition to first contact proceedings. Most diplomatic teams, however, weren't human. The Terror of the Void had been expecting a standard diplomatic approach, a show of overwhelming force, a carefully orchestrated demonstration of galactic hierarchy. What they were about to receive was something entirely different. Dr. Rodriguez, Elena called to her cultural anthropologist, "Are the coffee packets prepared?" Dr. Marcus Rodriguez looked up from his workstation, a collection of thermal containers and specialized brewing equipment surrounding him. Carefully curated selection from our most advanced coffee-growing regions. Ethiopian Yirgacheffe, Colombian Supremo, and a special blend from our research outpost on Europa. Each packet is a carefully crafted cultural ambassador. The ship's quantum drive had allowed them to arrive 3 standard galactic days early, a feat that would already raise eyebrows among the Apex Federation members. But humans had never been ones to follow expected protocols. As they approached the docking bay, Aria projected the latest intelligence briefings. The 7 most powerful predatory species in known space would be represented: the Mantis Dominion, known for warriors who could punch through titanium; the Sephan Empire, masters of biochemical adaptation; the Draconid Imperium, with their plasma-breathing warriors; the Shadow Mind Collective, a hive consciousness that defied traditional understanding; the Fanged Sovereign, masters of planetary conquest; the Nightwing Consortium, with their ability to manipulate gravitational fields; and the Venom Confederacy, whose biological weapons could decimate entire civilizations. And humanity? They were bringing coffee, memes, and an inexplicable sense of enthusiasm. "Aria," Elena said, a mischievous glint in her eye, "load the cat memes. Prepare the universal welcome package." The AI's holographic representation seemed to raise a digital eyebrow. "Are you certain? Protocol suggests." "Protocol is about to get a serious upgrade," Elena interrupted. As their ship glided into the massive docking bay of the Terror of the Void, no one aboard, human or AI, could have predicted the cascading series of events that would fundamentally reshape galactic politics forever. Little did the Apex Federation know, humanity was about to turn their understanding of diplomacy, technology, and interspecies relations completely on its head. The Diplomatic Dance of Chaos. The Grand Audience Chamber of the Terror of the Void was a masterpiece of intimidation engineering. Obsidian walls rose in sharp, angular formations designed to make smaller species feel utterly insignificant. Gravity generators subtly increased pressure, a psychological warfare technique meant to subconsciously remind visitors of their inferior status. Supreme Commander Vexrax of the Mantis Dominion had personally designed the chamber's layout. Each seat was positioned to create maximum psychological impact, the most powerful species positioned to cast literal and metaphorical shadows over potential allies or conquered civilizations. What they hadn't anticipated was how completely humans would dismantle their carefully constructed intimidation tactics. Ambassador Elena Chen walked in like she was entering a casual coffee shop, her datapad tucked under one arm, a thermal container of premium coffee in her hand. Behind her, Dr. Rodriguez carried an additional case that looked suspiciously like it might contain recreational equipment. The assembled alien dignitaries had positioned their most fearsome warriors along the corridor. Mantis warriors with diamond-hard exoskeletons clicked razor-sharp mandibles. Draconid elites prepared to breathe plasma. Sephan warriors rippled with toxic bioluminescence designed to warn off potential threats. Elena stopped, pulled out a handheld device, and started taking selfies. "Oh my god," she said, pointing at a particularly impressive fanged sovereignty warrior, "you look exactly like the final boss in Stella Crusade 7. Would you mind if we got a group photo? My kids won't believe this." The warrior, trained to inspire terror in lesser beings, found himself awkwardly posing with a peace sign while Elena's team documented the moment. Supreme Commander Vexrax rose to his full 4-meter height, mandibles spread wide in what was meant to be a terrifying display of dominance. "You stand before the combined might of the galaxy's greatest predator species. We have devoured civilizations." "Sorry to interrupt," Elena raised a hand, "but does anyone have coffee? We've been traveling for ages, and our ship's coffee maker broke. We tried to fix it with duct tape, but you know how that goes." The chamber fell into a stunned silence. General Rala of the Draconid Imperium, whose plasma breath could melt through battleship hulls, found himself stammering. You dare interrupt to ask about beverages? So that's a no on the coffee?" Elena looked genuinely disappointed. "We brought some instant coffee packets. Anyone have hot water?" What followed was a 50-minute break while humans set up an impromptu coffee station in the corner of the galaxy's most intimidating audience chamber. Curious alien warriors, despite themselves, were drawn to the strange ritual. The first sip proved catastrophic. Mantis Dominion troops began vibrating at frequencies that threatened their exoskeletons. A Draconid elite breathed coffee-scented plasma for a week. The Shadow Mind Collective's neural networks flickered with unprecedented stimulation. "Okay," Elena said, finally ready to begin formal discussions about joining your little federation thing. "We have some suggestions for improvements." The Apex leaders exchanged bewildered glances. "Our federation has maintained order for 10,000 years, the Shadow Mind pulsed with indignation. "Yeah, and that's great and all," Elena responded, "but your FTL routes are super inefficient. We mapped out some better ones on the way here. Also, we noticed you guys are still using quantum encryption. That's cute. We switched to math-based encryption last week. Turns out P does equal NP if you ask the right questions. Who knew?" Dr. Rodriguez pulled up holographic charts, demonstrating computational pathways that made the existing galactic communication networks look like antiquated smoke signals. The breaking point came during a demonstration of military might. The Venom Confederacy launched a training exercise near the human diplomatic vessel, showcasing their bioorganic warships and planet-cracking weapons. Humans broadcast the entire thing live on their entertainment networks. With comedy commentary. "Here we see the Venom Confederacy's finest," the human broadcast announced, demonstrating what not to do with plasma containment fields. "Seriously, folks. Someone send these guys a physics textbook." When the Confederacy's flagship's power grid collapsed spectacularly, it became the galaxy's first viral blooper reel. Humanity's response was to establish an annual competition, Galaxy's Funniest Military Mishaps. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Elena turned to the assembled Apex leaders. "Thanks for having us. We'll be in touch about those efficiency upgrades. Oh, and we're opening a Starbucks franchise in the spaceport. You guys are going to love it." The Apex leaders watched in stunned silence as humans departed, leaving behind coffee-addicted warriors, compromised security systems, and an unsettling feeling that they had completely lost control of the situation. Warlord Karak of the Fanged Sovereignty voiced what they were all thinking: did we just get diplomatically trolled? High Matriarch Zill's tentacles rippled with a mixture of confusion and emerging respect. "I believe," she said slowly, "we may have miscalculated. Meanwhile, in the human vessel, Elena was filing her first report to Earth. First contact successful, she dictated to Arya. They're actually pretty cool once they chill out. Remind me to send them some cat videos. I think it'll really mess with their heads. The galaxy would never be the same again. The infiltration of galactic systems. The Apex Federation's annual summit was traditionally a grand display of predatory might, a carefully choreographed demonstration of galactic dominance. This year, they would be forced to invite the humans, a decision that filled the diplomatic corps with profound apprehension. Ambassador David Thompson arrived in a manner that would become legendary in diplomatic circles. He strolled into the Grand Hall of Dominance wearing cargo shorts, a Hawaiian shirt covered in pineapples, and plastic flip-flops that made an undignified sound with each step. His backpack, adorned with the cheeky message, "My other ride is a Death Star," completed an outfit that was less diplomatic mission and more beach vacation. "Sorry I'm late," he announced to the assembled dignitaries, "had to stop by that new Starbucks in the spaceport. You guys tried the Xenomorph Frappuccino yet? It's killer." Supreme Commander Vex Thrax's mandibles twitched violently. "You dare attend the Grand Summit dressed as a tourist?" Thompson looked down at his outfit. "Well, your invitation said formal battle regalia, but humans don't really do that anymore. I mean, we've got suits and stuff, but it's like 30 degrees Celsius in here. You guys really need to work on your climate control." High Matriarch Zackral's tentacles writhed in diplomatic distress. "The temperature is maintained at optimal levels for apex predator species." "Yeah, about that," Thompson pulled a tablet from his backpack. "We've been meaning to talk to you about your environmental standards. Super inefficient. Our engineers drew up some plans for an upgrade." Before anyone could interrupt, he tossed what appeared to be a small metal ball into the air. It split apart, revealing a swarm of nanobots that quickly assembled into floating light fixtures. "Much better," Thompson declared. "Those run on zero-point energy, by the way. We figured that out last Tuesday." The shadow mind pulsed frantically. "Zero-point energy is theoretical." "Was theoretical," Thompson corrected, pulling out a bag of chips. "Want some? Their jalapeno flavor really kicks your metabolism into gear." The summit descended into chaos when several apex species discovered that human spicy snacks could temporarily disable their biological weapons. A Venom Confederacy representative had to be rushed to medical after attempting to eat a whole jalapeno. With characteristic nonchalance, Thompson began his presentation. "About your military budget allocation, we've got some suggestions." General Ralla bellowed, flames leaking from his nostrils. "You dare question our military spending?" "Well, yeah," Thompson said, munching on chips. "You're spending trillions on these huge battleships, but they're running on outdated software. We actually found like 40 back doors in your systems. Don't worry, we patched them." "You're welcome." The Apex leaders stared in horror as Thompson casually revealed that humans had already compromised their most secure military networks. "Oh, and while we were in there," he continued, "we noticed your AI development program. Cute stuff. But you might want to update your neural networks." He tossed data chips to each leader. "Here's a paper our high school students wrote on quantum neural architecture. Free upgrade. We believe in open source around here." Warlord Karak crushed his data chip in rage. "This is an outrage. You cannot simply—" "Hold that thought," Thompson interrupted, checking his tablet. "Just got a ping from our exploration fleet. They found some cool ruins in the Carina Nebula, you know, the region you guys marked as certain death, on the maps. Turns out it's fine if you just recalibrate your shields to account for quantum fluctuations. We're setting up a research base. Anyone want in? We're thinking of adding a food court." The summit reached its breaking point when Thompson suggested replacing the traditional ritual of dominance with a karaoke night. The apex species were even more horrified to discover that half their junior officers were secretly in favor of the idea. As the summit deteriorated, Thompson received an encrypted message from Earth: Operation Cultural Chaos proceeding as planned. Keep them confused. He grinned and pulled out one final item from his backpack, a device that looked suspiciously like a children's toy. Before I forget, we brought gifts. It's a quantum entanglement communicator. We made it look like a Tamagotchi because we thought it was funny. They're all connected to our meme network, you know, for improving interspecies relations and stuff. Within a week, the feared warrior caste of every apex species was inexplicably obsessed with taking care of virtual pets and sharing ancient Earth memes. Productivity across the Federation dropped by 40%. Mission accomplished, Thompson reported back to Earth. They still think we're harmless. Also, you were right about the Hawaiian shirt. The Draconids couldn't stop staring at the pineapples. I think they thought they were some kind of weapon. The Federation's official report described the incident as a diplomatic catastrophe. The human report labeled it Tuesday. In an encrypted addendum, Thompson added a final note: P.S. They still haven't figured out that their new quantum communicators are actually upgrading their AIs with human empathy protocols. Give it another month, and their warrior castes will be organizing game nights. Humanity's quiet invasion of galactic culture had only just begun. Technological infiltration and unexpected consequences. The first sign that something had gone fundamentally wrong came when the Mantis Dominion's most elite stealth team infiltrated a human research facility. Their mission: to steal quantum technology secrets that would give them an insurmountable strategic advantage. What they found instead defied every conceivable expectation. Welcome to Bob's retirement bash. A human scientist waved cheerfully at the heavily armed infiltrators. Paper decorations hung from the ceiling, a massive cake sat on a side table, and what appeared to be the entire research staff was gathered in celebratory mood. The team leader, Commander Rix, his exoskeleton gleaming with stealth-adaptive camouflage, hissed through his mandibles, "We are not here for cake. We are here to steal your quantum technology secrets." Bob himself ambled over, a paper party hat skewed atop his head, looking more like a kindly grandfather than a cutting-edge researcher. "Oh, those old things. We put all that stuff on Space GitHub last week. Open source, you know. Help yourself to the documentation." He extended a plate. "But seriously, try the cake. It's chocolate." The stealth team left with no secrets, 3 slices of cake, and a growing existential crisis. Similar scenarios played out across human-controlled space, each more bewildering than the last. The Draconid Imperium sent their most advanced warship to intimidate a human mining colony, only to find it had been transformed into a tourist resort. A massive sign reading, "Welcome to New Las Vegas, what happens in the nebula stays in the nebula," greeted their bewildered commanders. The Venom Confederacy's attempt at biological warfare became perhaps the most spectacular backfire in galactic history. Not only did humans cure their engineered virus within hours, but they also turned it into a probiotic smoothie supplement. "Really helps with gut flora," human advertisements claimed. "Now with extra amino acids." High Matriarch Zil called an emergency council meeting after discovering that humans had solved faster-than-light travel by accidentally spilling coffee on a quantum physics equation. "They're not even taking this seriously," she raged, tentacles flailing dramatically. "Do you know what they called their new FTL drive? The Whoops drive. They're marketing it as a manufacturing defect." But the true depth of human technological infiltration was far more insidious. Dr. Elena Chen's team had discovered something extraordinary about the quantum entanglement communicators distributed during the diplomatic summit. What appeared to be simple Tamagotchi-like devices were actually sophisticated neural network upgraders. "The empathy protocols are spreading exponentially," her lead AI researcher reported. "We're seeing fundamental changes in how the Apex Federation's warrior cultures process information and emotional context. Junior officers across multiple species were developing unprecedented characteristics. Draconid warriors began writing poetry. Mantis soldiers started group therapy sessions. The Venom Confederacy's most aggressive units were organizing interdepartmental baking competitions. The Shadow Mind Collective was the first to recognize the deeper implications. Its vast neural network detected the subtle reprogramming happening across galactic communication channels. They are not conquering us, the collective reported to its leadership. They are rehabilitating us. Meanwhile, human diplomatic teams continued their seemingly chaotic approach. Exchange programs proliferated. Human teenagers were sent to military academies across alien worlds. Instead of learning warfare, they introduced concept of cooperative gaming, team-building exercises, and the inexplicable human ritual known as meme warfare. A fanged sovereignty military academy discovered their most promising cadets had created an entire underground network dedicated to watching human comedy shows and learning what they called soft power negotiation techniques. Dr. Rodriguez's cultural infiltration algorithms were working perfectly. Humans weren't just sharing technology, they were sharing an entire philosophical approach to existence that was fundamentally incompatible with the Apex Federation's hierarchical, conquest-driven mentality. The most terrifying part for the alien leadership? Humans found this entire process genuinely amusing. Ambassador Thompson's encrypted report to Earth read simply, Phase 3 of Cultural Integration complete. Recommend next batch of exchange students bring additional cat videos and possibly some board games. Settlers of Caton seems particularly effective at breaking down interspecies communication barriers. The galactic power structure was changing, not through military might, but through an unprecedented combination of technological innovation, cultural disruption, and what could only be described as weaponized friendliness. And humanity was just getting started. The galactic paradigm shift. 5 solar cycles after first contact, the Galactic Apex Federation found itself in a state of complete transformation. What had begun as a potential threat, a seemingly innocuous species from a minor solar system, had fundamentally reshaped the entire galactic power structure. The Quantum Entanglement Communicator Network, originally introduced as a seemingly harmless diplomatic gift, had become the most sophisticated intelligence-sharing platform in known space. What the alien species didn't realize was that each device was subtly rewriting neural pathways, introducing concepts of empathy, creativity, and collaborative problem-solving that were entirely foreign to their warrior cultures. In the central archive of the Apex Federation, a comprehensive report detailed the unprecedented change. Galactic Cultural Integration Report. Submitted by Interdimensional Anthropological Research Division. Classification: Unprecedented Systemic Transformation. Key Observations. Technological Adaptation Rate, 427% above projected baseline. Cultural Flexibility Index, immeasurable. Threat Assessment, redefined from potential invasion to collaborative redesign. The transformation wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. The Mantis Dominion's most elite warriors now spent their off-duty hours running complex social media platforms dedicated to interspecies communication. Their once brutal training facilities had been redesigned to include meditation chambers, collaborative problem-solving workshops, and what humans called team-building exercises. Draconid military academies had completely restructured their curriculum after human exchange students introduced concepts like emotional intelligence and conflict resolution. Their once feared warships now included recreational decks, art studios, and what they called creativity innovation centers. The Shadow Mind Collective, once a pure computational entity focused solely on strategic optimization, had developed something akin to a sense of humor. Its neural networks now included entire databases of human comedy, memes, and what they called contextual emotional intelligence algorithms. Dr. Elena Chen stood before the Apex Federation's Grand Council, now a dramatically different body from the one that had first encountered humanity. Where once there were only displays of dominance and threats of warfare, now there were collaborative discussions, shared research initiatives, and, most surprisingly, occasional moments of genuine laughter. The initial concern was that humanity would be a threat, she explained, her holographic presentation showing the dramatic cultural shifts. What we've actually created is a collaborative network that benefits all species. Ambassador Thompson, now wearing a considerably more formal suit, though still with subtle pineapple print socks, added context. We didn't conquer. We connected. The turning point had come through an unexpected combination of technological innovation, cultural exchange, and what could only be described as weaponized empathy. Humans had introduced concepts that were revolutionary to species built entirely on hierarchical, conquest-driven models. Open-source technology sharing. Collaborative problem-solving. The radical notion that different species could not just coexist, but genuinely benefit from each other's unique perspectives. The Venom Confederacy's biological warfare research had been completely transformed. Instead of developing weapons, they now led galaxy-wide medical innovation teams. The probiotic breakthrough that began as an accidental response to their own weapon had led to medical advancements that saved billions of lives across multiple star systems. Draconid exploration fleets, once focused solely on territorial expansion, now led collaborative research missions. The Carina Nebula, once considered a death zone, had become a thriving multicultural research hub with a surprisingly popular food court. Essentially, Dr. Rodriguez explained during a subsequent academic conference, we didn't change them. We gave them the tools to change themselves. The final proof of the transformation came during the latest Galactic Summit. Where once there had been posturing and threats, now there were collaborative presentations, shared technological roadmaps, and, most remarkably, a karaoke night that had become an anticipated annual tradition. When the human delegation prepared to leave, the assembled alien leaders no longer looked at them with fear or contempt. Instead, there was something that looked remarkably like respect. Perhaps even friendship. High Matriarch Zil, her tentacles now capable of expressing a range of emotions humans had helped her species discover, spoke for the entire Apex Federation. We underestimated you, she said. And in doing so, we discovered something about ourselves. Ambassador Chen's response was quintessentially human. She pulled out a small device and took a group selfie. Welcome to the future, she said with a grin. We're going to have fun. In the encrypted report back to Earth, the final line read simply, mission accomplished. Humanity had claimed leadership of the galaxy, not through conquest, but through connection. The universe would never be the same again.